I guess I can start with a quick update. Um, in terms of doing the multi-bot planning for multiple lawn tractors on a stage raw simulator, I was able to get stage raw set up in a way that I can spawn two tractors at the same time and put them in the correct namespace. The issue I was running into was, I think, each instance of move base flex. I was just having trouble juggling those around. So, and then I kind of got distracted and started playing around with my smock machine, Smash, because I realized it was a very crude implementation. It was just really a copy pasted tutorial. So I've been playing around with that and having some trouble because basically Smash, I guess it's called Smash. They have states that are simple action clients because Move Base Flex uses the action library. But the ones that they already have classes out there for are a little simple, and the problem I was really trying to tackle was, while the robot is executing a path and it gets a new path, how can I get it to switch to executing that path? And there are ideas about concurrent states for Smash, and containerized states, like nested states, but it seems to be a little difficult to do with their pre-built action library states. So I went down the path of creating my own action library client state, but I was running into issues. But yeah, I don't know if anyone has any experience with action library stuff or Smash, then I'd love to talk.
Have you looked into behavior trees? I think people are moving away from state machines and going to behavior trees or
so
something.
Is that Ross behavior tree?
Yes.
Okay. I came across that in my reading. Do you think it has more support?
Well, I don't know. I am still new. I barely used Smash just a little bit, and then I switched over to playing with behavior trees, but I haven't quite figured out those yet.
Okay.
There's a lot more functionality about states and preserving states and multifunction, like sequences. You can do sequences. You can check states as you go into a node or a leaf, I guess.
Okay.
They add a lot more. There's a lot more functionality built into there. Maybe it's won't solve the problem that you specifically have, but.
Okay. The flip side of this, or one good thing is, while digging around, I finally understood how Move Base Flex is able to implement predefined paths. I guess I knew that was a functionality in Move Base Flex, but I was never able to point to, hey, you can do it like this. And now I know.
How to send in the path to the action exe path.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a matter of populating that message and sending it. So you have to create an action library client and send it to Move Base Flex using that message. So I guess Al was looking for that functionality, and maybe we can build that into that GPS, that waypoint, read in a set of waypoints, execute. And it seems appropriate that we can build it in there.
Okay. Juan, do you have any preferences? I know you're out driving around, you're close.
I'm not sure because I was on Sunday working with the tractor, and I found out I feel very stupid about this, because as I was thinking, I understand that one of the problems that I was having is that for security, I launched the joystick node, and then I launched the rest of the nodes. So as I didn't press the dead man button in the joystick, I was stopping all the nodes from working. And it was something that I was learning, I had the hint about it because I was trying to implement the ROS control through the Android app. And while I was trying to use it, I began seeing that there was a lot of interference with the command belt topics and other topics with that app in the phone. And sometimes when I used the app, I couldn't regain control from the joystick, and I began and I searched it in Google, and I found out that it was a very common problem. So at that moment, I didn't have the idea about that, but later I began understanding that that was an issue. And the other day, when I come out with the idea, I blow out one of the fuses of the of the tractor, and I have to leave the tractor at the field. But one of the things that yesterday I was working with the simulator, and I put the I'm and I was trying to build the world in the simulator very similar to what I have here in Argentina. So I put the GPS coordinates from my farm. So to tailor that, I'm trying to force me to work more with the simulator, because I think that one of the things that I was very wrong about what I was doing is, as I have the tractor and as I have the robot, I didn't play enough with the simulator and learn with the simulator. And the simulator is a great tool to work and to learn ROS. And as I do the course in internet. I don't remember uh, the edX course, and I work with the simulator there, with the Airbus and the Gazebo, and I feel very confident about that. Then, so I'm trying to replicate that feeling with the launch tractor.
Very good.
And from last Tuesday, one of the things that was very important was the thing about Crony that I published at the Slack, because that was a huge problem that I was having again and again, issues with when I was compiling the Kathleen build and Kathleen make, and I think that I solved it now. I'm not sure about that, because it's taking at least 5 minutes to synchronize the clocks. I was trying to measure that the other day, and I think that 7 minutes, 4 minutes to get the both computers synchronized. I'm not sure if it's something that I'm doing wrong, something I got to play with the config file from Crony, but I'm very, very happy with Crony. It was a huge thing too, because now I'm able to find a way to synchronize all the clocks. If I want to add now a Raspberry with the camera, it's easy to go with that at all the same. So it's very easy to escalate things now.
That's great,
Sure
Juan.
I'm trying to do my homework, and especially I will try to do the things in the simulator, because I think that I learn a lot from the simulator. And as I'm trying to build and rebuild the tractor, I'm learning more and more. And maybe I'm not confident about the flows of the topics in between the launch files, and that's something. If I One thing that I wish I have much easier to see is if one of the guys in the group can give me a hint of a way to different from RQT to see all the topics and all the things involving the robot in the command line.
You can ROS topic list.
No, yes. But when you are trying to see the whole thing, it's not easy because maybe you want to see the heading and the GPS topics. So when you are trying to understand what is happening, you end up with 11 windows. Yes, Terminator is good for that, but you end up with very little windows and you cannot see anything, and I'm trying to understand which is the problem.
Yeah.
Sorry, I understand your problem now.
Yeah, RQT is heavy, but I use RQT messaging, and the RQT graph is very nice because it shows what topic is talking to who, and if something's broken. It does take a lot of resources, but having that map, if you just do the RQT graph, then it shows you what nodes are running, and then it shows you what topics they have and who's listening visually, so you can just look at it. You can do ROS topic list and then do ROS topic info and see who's subscribing and publishing, but if you have like 10 nodes that you want to see, RQT graph is pretty much the way.
Yes, I use RQT graph, but RQT graph solve the information as you are telling. Sometimes you need some to see the information, how is it pulling it? Because when you have a problem like I was having as a NaN number, you have to combine the RQ graph and the topic visualizer and RQT. So I was thinking, I think that there must be a tool that will show in like widgets, but in the command line. I don't want nothing fancy. I want a lot of topic house, the hecho topics, but a lot of topics at the same time. I'm not sure if I'm being.
No,
I'm explaining it well. I only want to see the hecho topics.
Yeah, I use RQT plot. So there's a couple tools. Like you said, if you want to see the data, RQT plot is the data. And then if you want to see how the data is flowing just from one to the other, is RQT plot. I mean, the command line tools are good, but they're there. You just have to do ROS, like 6 windows, ROS topic echo, ROS topic info, and then that name, and then to see all those things. Like if you just want to check 5 nodes or 3 nodes and watch the data, I just do that in the command line. But if I'm looking at the full system, then I'll use RQT plot and then RQT graph.
Well, I will try. I'm not sure if I use RQT plot. It's the only one that I think I didn't use. The other ones I use it all. And last week I pulled up a search in GitHub if I could find something about that, but I leave it. I couldn't find something that was useful.
And plot juggler is another one that's really nice people use.
One option would be, oh, he logged off. He's probably a bad connection again. I was going to point out, I think what he wants to do is from the command line, he wants to start something up and watch the numbers coming out of all these different topics at the same time without having 11 different windows open, as he said. So one option. Oh, he's coming back now.
Yeah.
So another option you could have, you could write a custom program, say in Python or something, that would say subscribe to GPS and subscribe to whatever you want to see, and just have it do prints on the command line. So you start that program and it would just put out the whatever value you've programmed in. It would just put out, just write those out to the same screen as the thing runs. Now there's probably a program to do that. I just did a quick look and I don't see anything pop up, but I'm sure somebody's already written a program that will do that. So basically you could have on the command line, you would say, show me is what it's called show me.py. And then after that, you could put a list of topics you want to see. And then when you run it, it would just list those topics on the screen it would just keep scrolling up, or you could have it so it would display them across the line and then rewrite that line. So you could sit and watch the numbers running. And it could be somebody's already written something like that, but I didn't. I just did a quick search and nothing popped up for that. But I think that's what you're asking.
Yes, I think that I do the same. I didn't find, but I think that that must be something that I'm doing wrong in the search, because it's so basic. I think that it's a problem that everybody in the past have just have. So I will have to work much better, refine the search.
I can't think what to search for either. I'll do a couple more things here and see if anything pops up.
Yes, the other thing that it was very interesting in the tractor is that I think that I get the navigation from the Airbus. I could do the command belt from the Airbus. So I put a point in Airbus, and the tractor moved to that point in real life and in the simulator. What?
You said that you clicked and pointed, and then did it go to there?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, yes. And that was the last thing that I could accomplish before I began having problems and ended up with the fuse, the broken fuse. But it was, I'm not sure if, and then I do the GPS thing. So I'm not sure, maybe when I change the fuse, if I don't have any heavy problem that I'm not seeing, I'm not sure what I will be able to do. Maybe I can do some navigation. But I'm something that it was, I have the two last things that I could see do was that, and then in the application in the phone, the ROS control, I get the info from the GPS, but that only was accomplished when I had the Airbus open. I'm not sure what is making Airbus to pull some topics in a way when I open it that it changed the map of the topics. I didn't do the thing that you say in RQT. I forgot to do it. The graph, the RQT graph, because it is that's something that it will be very good, because I could compare the different graphs that I have with the last one that was with the Airbus open. I try to do always I can show you the last one that I do. If do you want to see one of the graphs that I have?
Sure, you can share your screen and we can take a look.
Let me see.
There was a command line tool. I thought it was ROS topic show, and it plotted plotted topic data in your command line window, but I haven't been able to find it. I'll keep looking.
Are you seeing my computer?
We're seeing like a, yep.
Mm.
And
No.
GPS data is very difficult to see in ROS. Like MapViz is probably, well, there's a couple ones, but MapViz is the strongest. GPS, if you want to plot lat long data, it's a little.
Yes, MapVis. Can you, what you're talking about? Can you repeat it?
Well, I just saw that you were echoing GPS data, and it's that's about the best you can do there.
Yes, but I'm as I get, I'm not. I don't know how to say. I wasn't very here.
Nice.
Can you see it?
Yeah, it's a little small, but yes, that's the graph.
Wait. I'm not. No graph. Aye.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not. I've this one. Yes. This is one of the last ones. I think it's from 8 days ago, maybe.
That's perfect. That is correct.
Yes.
So that why you should have another one. Sorry,
Yes.
go ahead. You're just missing one topic from that NEMA serial driver node. There's a slash heading, but that GPS to pose conversion should look for two. It's looking for slash heading and then your slash GPS or slash fixed, sorry. But I don't know why you're only seeing slash heading there.
I'm not sure about that, but let me take a note about that and I will try to fix it. So the NMEA driver must have two arrows, one heading and the other is the fix.
Yes, your actual location.
Okay. One of the things is that I'm not sure what I need to be seeing here and what is fine and what is wrong. But let me show you.
If go back to that page a second, if you can.
Yes.
On the right there where you've got two command velocities going into the TNC serial, I think that's what you were talking about earlier. That is a problem doing that. So instead of having that thing called controller talking to TNC serial, that controller should go into that command velocity mux down below. So command velocity mux switches one input or the other. So where it says slash controller, that should be feeding into command velocity mux, not directly into TNC serial.
Okay, let me take a note.
That's a really good catch there, Jeff.
Well, that's what he was asking about earlier today or yesterday. He said he was having problems with that.
Yeah, no node should publish directly to command velocity except for that mux. So if you're connecting to with your phone and using the phone joystick or that type of a thing, just make sure that it's not publishing directly to command velocity.
Let me recap just a little. The last node before TNC must be command veloc mux.
Yes.
This is an error. I should not have two command veloc publishing to TNC serial.
Right.
Okay, I understand.
Thanks, Jeff.
So Zoom actually has an annotation feature that might be useful for this kind of a discussion.
What?
You know, I can draw.
Oh, yes.
Uh-oh, we're having a party now. That's right. How did you delete that?
I opened the floodgates, my bad.
Drawing.
I think that you can draw Beanie. Try it.
Yeah. I mean, I was just pointing out. I had nothing new to add.
Okay. Okay, but I never use this one. Tomorrow, here we have an association of farmers in Argentina that is called ACREA. And tomorrow, no, on Friday, we will have our farm reunion where we will show what we are doing to the other farmers. We do it one time a year. There we will share the things that we are working in. As we have the problems with the COVID, we are going to do the first virtual reunion for a company in 25 years, but ever, because so we didn't use this option, and this is important because sometimes we have to share graphics, and so I thank you for the advice.
So one question, why, is it intended that relay control is not connected to anything?
Relay control. I don't know why is it that way. Because one of the things that I began understanding now is the part of the relay of the tractor. I'm not sure if this graphic is after or before I managed to pull up the relay control from the Raspberry. I'm not sure about that.
So that's a service.
Yes.
Oh, it's a service?
Yeah,
Okay.
and it gets called at the launch, on your launch file, on your startup launch file, and it sets the states of the tractor.
Okay. I didn't realize services showed up on our QT graphs.
Yeah, weird, huh?
But I guess map server is also a service, right?
True. I thought there was like some that had squares and some that were different, that showed you different things, but I'm not, I'd have to look at it again. Map server is a service.
And he has it set to nodes only.
No. Wait. I have nodes and topics here.
Okay.
As chefs ask, I go back to the other slide. I'm sure why I'm not having here the GPS, as Matt said, because the fixed topic is because the driver delivers the heading, the fixed topic. Here, let me see.
So if you're actually plotting that data, then that node, the GPS to pose node, is not listening to the right topic.
Here you have it.
Yeah, but it says subscribers none.
No, because maybe I didn't launch the last launch file. I don't remember the context that let me see. Here you have the one thing that I'm not sure. What is this, the position covariance here?
Oh, covariance is a measurement of error.
Okay.
That's very important with sensor fusion.
Okay. Here was the thing that I was telling you about the header topic. When I was using the header topic, here you will find that I have the none. That was why I was asking for the. I don't know how to clear the.
There should be a track. Oh yeah, you got it.
Okay. Here, you see that I'm getting the heading topic here.
Yep.
And as I stop the tractor, I lose it.
Yep.
that was why I asked you for I asked the question the last meeting.
Yep. On the F9P or on that GPS, I think even the F9P, it just, if you're stopped, that goes to NAN. So that's, it's a known thing.
No, I understand, and I understand the solution. I couldn't deploy the script that you sent me because that was when I began having problems. I'm not sure which was the problem, but I ended up with the fuse, a burn fuse. It's the first time that I burn a fuse, so I'm pretty scared about what will happen when I will try to turn on the tractor again. But today I have a very hard day in the work and I couldn't give time to the tractor.
It's good it blew a fuse instead of blowing a control board.
No, of course, I'm very scared about what will happen if I blow something in the tractor because it's getting very shitty to rebuy some of the boards here in Argentina, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do. But I'm trying to be positive and think that it will not happen because if it's not, I cannot work.
Yep.
So since you blew a fuse, this is a good time to consider putting a toolbox on your tractor and put a few small tools in it and some spare fuses and any other spare things, little tire pump, maybe if your tires go flat. You learn these things as you go along, that you need to do things like that.
Here's the fuse box
Yeah.
that I bought when Matt came. I didn't put it, but I take the advice and I will try to get it better. But I'm very limited with some of the electric and electronic parts of the tractor.
It's always good to have spare parts when you're out in the middle of the field and something goes wrong. If you got something you can just pop in there, it's good to keep that stuff with you.
Yes. The most difficult part of the parts is the Citron boards. The Citron boards, I tried to buy it in United States, and I as I tell Matt, I have two Citron boards in United States, and I cannot get it to Argentina. So I offer again, if someone in the group wants the boards, I give the boards for free. I don't want nothing because here I won't use them, and they are in United States sleeping at the house of my friend, and surely someone is going to give them better use than my friend. So maybe there is another member of the group that wants to share something.
Well, the only thing that I've been doing here lately, I've been thinking about this, how to build a controller that we were discussing, I think, on the lawn tractor meeting about having a remote IO device. And I asked, what would people want to do? And Matt brought up the example of his transmission has a giant RC servo, and he's got the two magnetic encoders to read his wheel positions. And then that I thought, well, that's similar to what I'm doing on mine. I've got my mini tractor. I've got a giant RC servo that's doing the steering, and I could make that a smart device also. And the concept would be, you would have, like, say, for instance, here's my, this would be an example where I've got that's the little $2 blue pill board. I've got an Arduino loader, bootloader loaded on that now, so it should act like an Arduino. And then it's got, that's just like a $2 or $3 CAN converter, CAN transceiver. And this board has the CAN peripheral built in. So if you wanted to make it CAN, hooking those two together, you could have a CAN interface to this microcontroller. And then over on the other side, there's just a little switching converter that happened to be on here right now. So basically those three things together, that would let you put in vehicle power to power the whole thing, and then have a CAN bus coming out where you could talk to it. So whether, in that case, whether I'm trying to control my steering or Matt's trying to control his transmission, basically it's the same kind of parts to make that happen. And you just send commands out. So you say, I want to go forward at 1 meter per second. And that could set his RC servo to make the transmission work. And in my case, on my steering, I can say, well, I want to set it to 10 degrees to the right. And then the controller would take care of that just by sending out a command. And then it also occurs to me that my steering with the giant RC servo is close enough to what you guys are using for the steering on your lawn tractors, where you've got a electric power steering unit out of a car, and then you've got some kind of feedback. I know Matt's using a potentiometer. I think Juan's using a potentiometer, and I think Al's trying to use his magnetic sensor. Well, those pieces aren't that much different from what my steering is doing. So theoretically, like this one controller board could do any of those three things. And Juan, did you put a linear actuator on your transmission to make it work as opposed to the RC servo?
Yes, yes. The transmission work with a linear actuator. That's something that Matt always say that the actuator will die. I think that he's Highlander because he didn't die, and he's he's still working. And every time that I turn on the tractor, I'm thinking that the actuator will die. But as I was thinking to replace it, I bought this one. This Toyota motor. This is the one that we use to the steering wheel, and I'm trying to stay with Toyota, trying to use Toyota parts because Toyota in Argentina got a very good distribution. In South America, usually got a very good distribution. In Argentina, we have a factory of Toyota that we build the pickups, and in Brazil they build the small cars. So I will always have this kind of things. So I was thinking to replace the actuator with this and gain the forward and the backward, because now I can only operate the tractor forward, not backward, because the actuator doesn't have the extension of the arm longer enough to do it. But something that works very well is the steering wheel and the potentiometer. It works. And I crashed the tractor to a tree, and I have to rebuild it, and it was pretty easy, and was one of the things that I was very scared about the tractor. I'm not sure if the question was about that.
Just to interject, Matt keeps saying he burned up his actuator, but he didn't. He either burn up his driver, or I'm thinking he just got noise between his controller and his driver is what was causing the problem. Because one time I said, hook it directly to the battery, and it worked just fine back and forth, and he hooked it back up to the controller, and it was buzzing and chattering. So
if you have the opportunity to burn out 10 of those things, they have a very similar pattern. They slowly start to use more and more amperage. So that'll still work, like if you hook it directly to battery, but it's dying. It still works, but it's dying.
And on
like
Juan's implementation, you say you don't have enough length on the actuator so it'll go forward and backward. Is it because of where you tied it into the mechanical system? Because you can change the length of, say, the length of the control arm on something and change the mechanical advantage to get more travel out of that. Now, I assume what you did, you took the rod on the transmission that came up to like a pedal or something, and you tied right onto that. Is that what you did?
Yes.
So
yes.
if you're to bypass that and run the actuator directly to the control arm by picking a different length up the control arm, you can get more or less mechanical advantage on that. So if you have access to that, you could do that.
Yes, yes, that was a thing, and the last week that was a thing that I was thinking a lot, because as I began using the simulator, I'm seeing that the tractor tend to do backwards and forward to try to find his way, and I'm afraid that he's trying to do the same with my tractor, and as he cannot go backwards, the system crashed. But I'm not sure about that. That was one of the things that I think I tried to repurpose the missions that I was trying to do with the tractor to make it in a straight line and stop. So I don't. So in the simulator, I don't have that situation that the tractor is trying to go backwards and forwards to try to find his orientation.
So your physical implementation does not have reverse in your tractor?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Let me look into it, but we can likely turn that off in the simulator if you'd like. I can show you what line to change, and we can
Okay.
tell the simulator don't go backwards.
Okay. Okay. It was. Sorry, the Spanish came out, but maybe I'm not so much into that today. If you have other things that you want to work, it's not something that is so important, because I will try to focus in doing a straight line. As I do a straight line, I will be sure that I can accomplish the one point to another point navigation. Then I will try to do another thing. But first, that little step to try to prove that the tractor is working in a rect line. I don't know how to say it. In a straight line.
Okay.
And one thing, last week I bought one of the kits that are for Arduino, for the little robots that you put in Arduino Pro. Can I use it with ROS and a Raspberry there with the Ubiquiti image?
Yeah, it works great. Super fun.
Oh, okay, okay. I will try to do with my kids.
Oh yeah, there's the Raspberry Pi.
Yes, that one. I think that's one. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Ubiquiti
yes,
image.
Yes. Yes.
Drive it around with with the stack.
Okay. Okay.
Build two. Get two of them for each of your sons, and then you can practice Vinny's multi-robot area coverage planner.
Yeah. And I bought a cheap GPS last week. I think that I will have it by next weekend, and I will try to implement in the second Raspberry that I'm trying to build the camera. I will put in the back of the tractor that GPS. So maybe in the future I can get the heading from the difference of the two GPS.
Yep.
I bought it for that.
Yep. So you'll have one GPS that's RTK and one lower cost GPS.
Yes, in the back.
So is that the two different GPS will work together, Matt?
Yeah. So with the robot, what Juan's doing is if you put two GPSs on your robot, if you put two GPSs on your robot, one in front, one in back, it's very, very common, or side to side they do them, but basically you'll know which direction you're pointing all of the time, and that's heading. So if you have two RTK GPSs, dual GPS, that's the best heading. The Ardu Simple sells one that's all combined and ready to go.
What you'll have to do in this case with two separate GPSs, they'll both be publishing your values as ROS topics, and then you'll have to have a node that will read those in and calculate the difference of the angle between the two, so you can get the angle that way.
Yes.
Whereas with the F9P U blocks, you just simply turn it on and it does the calculation internally and puts out the heading for you.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Yeah, I actually got so one GPS is for the rover, one is for the base, right? Typically, like you carry one GPS on board. Another one is for the like a stationary, like for the base.
Yes. So the base station is another GPS, and that sends in your corrections. So with the RTK GPS, you have to have two. One is a base station and the one on your rover. But if you put two on your rover and you have your base station, then you know which direction you're pointing.
Oh, I see. But so yeah, my question is that you have RTK GPS and you have this Pixhawk GPS.
Yeah.
So I have two like RTK GPS. One is for base, one is for the rover, and then I have a lot of Pixhawk GPS. Last time we mentioned, where that work together can work like two different grades of GPS will work together.
Well, your experiences will it's definitely fun. It's fun playing with sensors. It's fun just getting them to work and testing them out. But you'll need to work with the sensor, get familiar with it, understand what the limitations are.
Nice. So the question is that they have two different kind of resolution, right? For RTK, you can reach centimeter, but for the Pixhawk, probably you get meters. So I'm wondering how these kind of two different resolution GPS data can work together. Yeah.
That's a really, really good question, John. And I don't know if you have heard of Murphy's Law of Precision, but it's something that I refer to a lot. And basically, if you're working, Murphy's Law of Precision is that you measure something with a micrometer very accurately, and then you mark it with chalk, and then you cut it with an axe. So what you're saying is, I have one GPS, it's a micrometer. It'll tell me sub-inch, 2.5 centimeters, exactly where this point, just XY, but just this, and altitude. So, but we're concerned with XY. It'll tell you exactly where you are in this point. Then you have another GPS that's a 1 meter accuracy.
Right.
So it's doing this.
Right.
And then, yeah. What will happen is if you try to do heading, if you have one point that's 2.5 centimeters, you have one that's a meter.
Yeah.
Your heading is going to go like this. But it's fun to play with these sensors, to really try to understand how they work. And then like if you're going to fuse sensors, then you really want to take a look at the resolution. You want to take a look at your covariance, and you want to understand where it's going to fail. Every sensor will fail in certain situations. So we just try to combine them to cover most of the areas, but it's tricky.
Right. Yeah, I just wondering actually just now, Wendy and John is talking about the simulation. So how does this kind of simulation can, help such experimental testing, or, how the simulation can help on this kind of physical testing? Or the simulation is kind of completely different from the physical setup?
So yeah, currently the simulation is not modeling, issues in GPS resolution or anything like that currently. My long-term, what I would want is for it to do that. And I've worked on simulators where it did do that. But currently, no, you're right. The simulator is just kind of to go through the motions of ROS and getting the robot to move, but it's not modeling those subtleties, the sensors and the subtleties.
So you mean basically right now, like you don't incorporate the GPS sensor, MU sensor, you just get the status from the TF model maybe directly. You don't
Yeah.
have like for obstacle avoidance, you don't have this kind of Z like depth camera at all. You just so how you do the obstacle avoidance if you don't have this let's say depth sensor? Still
So
use
in the simulation does have a laser scanner.
a
It
laser.
does have a depth sensor.
Okay. Okay. So the depth sensor was there. Okay, I see.
And so my current understanding of what the simulator is doing is it's taking the TF, but it's mapping it and creating a fake GPS. But that fake GPS is the ground truth. There's very little noise or issues relating to that.
But why you will want noises in that? Because GPS I think the simulator is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Tool.
So why would I want noise in the simulator? So you can practice your localization on the simulator.
Okay.
So ideally, the user would have a slider or something that they edit in the launch file that says, hey, I want the simulator with zero noise, or I want the noisiest, just to try to get as close as you can to real life.
As a direct example, what Juan was just talking about, you can have an RTK GPS on one point on this vehicle and a non-RTK somewhere else. In the simulator, you could set the GPS one to very little noise and set the extra one to a lot of noise. And then when you run it, that's going to give you the same type of readings you would get out in the real world. And when you're talking about the simulator, you're talking about gazebo or about stage when you're talking about all this?
I was talking about stage.
Because I know gazebo lets you, there's just you go into the like URDF file or whatever you use to configure it, and there you can just tell it how much noise you want. It gives you like a percentage of noise, and you can make it really bad if you want, or you can say zero noise, zero error. So that's an example of why you'd want to do that.
Right. Gazebo definitely has sensor models, and you can even pull sensor models from the community and tune them to your liking.
And just another minor point, for years and years, the people from Ross would say, oh, well, you can use a GPS, but they're really crappy. And because they weren't using RTK GPS, so they had these really crappy GPSs. And it's the point now where you put on the RTK one and it's very precise and works very well. So, but they would swear the GPS is just crap. That's why you have to have all these other sensors to fuse with it. And in reality, no, they just weren't starting off with a decent GPS, mainly because they run indoors all the time. They know what a GPS is, but they wouldn't actually use it. So I just thought I'd throw out the little tidbit.
The history.
Yeah, we're pretty fortunate now to have 2.5 centimeter accuracy for your robot. $300, $200.
So
no,
ahead.
no, it's okay. No, it's okay.
I was gonna ask. So the last release of ROS 1 came out, I guess, this week, and I mean, what does that mean for everyone? Does that mean that I'm wasting my time developing for ROS 1, or
no way?
Does that mean
the clock is ticking? We have 5 years to migrate to ROS 2.
Okay.
2024. If we're still working on stage, then we gotta hurry up.
And is there going to be backlash into going to ROS 2? Because I mean, I'm just thinking of Python 2 to 3 was a big, battle. There's a lot of backlash. So are we going to see that, or are we smoothly going to go to ROS 2 and not
Well,
raise a
Jeremy,
stink?
Jeremy's online tonight, so we'll throw him under the bus. But yeah, I think the goal is to have like this auto migration button where you just click and then all of your code gets upgraded and everything works.
I think that's the plan.
That last statement is probably the key. If then everything works.
As far as I know, the main reason for Noetic was to migrate ROS 1 to Python 3. So I think if you're on Melodic or Kinetic, I would consider moving to Noetic first, and then that might be a little bit easier migration if you're using Python.
Sure. So currently the simulator is on Kinetic. Matt, we should, I don't know, is there some...
Kinetic to Melodic, the hardest part is if you have OpenCV. The Kinetic to Melodic, if you're using OpenCV, which I doubt you are, or are you? That was the biggest problem I saw, is OpenCV, because you go from 2.4, I think it's 2.48 OpenCV to OpenCV 3, and there's a lot of header changes in that change, and the other problem with OpenCV is now even ROS 2, ROS 1, and I forget the OpenCV versions in ROS 1 and 2, but they're pushing OpenCV 4. So if you're using if you're way back on Kinetic, you're already 2 major versions behind. But I don't think there's a whole lot of that. The other thing I think is encouraging is that I think a lot of people try to make a whole, think about the whole leap. And actually I was going to mention something, but I don't think you have to make the whole, a leap all at once. You can consider making mixed nodes because the APIs are intentionally not in conflict. So you could make, that's why there is a ROS 1 bridge for ROS 2. Is if you look at the code for that, it incorporates both ROS 1 and ROS 2 APIs. So theoretically, you could take a ROS 1 node and add ROS 2 APIs to it to use new features from ROS 2.
Sure.
And that might be a way just to learn it. Other than that, but Steve McKenzie, who I've been having some conversations with him about some other things, but I was talking to him recently about ROS Ag, and he's heading up NAV2 working group. And I said, well, you should do a presentation to the ROS Ag guys. They would really appreciate it, because they're starting work on GPS for NAV2. And I thought that would be motivation for you guys to maybe try it out. And he's got big plans. He's a pretty interesting guy. So Matt, I can put you in contact with Steve, and maybe.
I was looking at jumping in the meeting tomorrow. Looks like, is it tomorrow or Thursday? Thursday, they've at 2 Pacific time is their next work group meeting.
For NAV2 or navigation.
Yeah, I talked with Matt Hansen at ROSCON.
Oh yeah, he would be another good person. Yeah, on Thursday it looks like at 4 o'clock Central is the next NAV2 meeting.
Yeah, maybe, okay, I don't know, this is more of a question, but is the navigation stack, is that going to be sort of like a weather balloon? Like we kind of look at that functionality and then maybe we move to that functionality first with ROS 2, or do we figure out, or do we just wait till we run into some roadblock and we have to move?
So I think the parts that I mean, you have code depends how you wrote your code and what language it's in, right? So if you're, say, on ROS 2 and using Python 2, or sorry, backing up, if you're on ROS 1 on Kinetic or Melodic and using Python 2, you're going to want to, you're probably going to move to Noetic first as the minimum step forward. You know, I'm a big believer in not trying to make too many big jumps all at once. So I know there's some Python code in you have some Python code there, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would probably be the first thing, is to look at trying to bump up to Noetic. If you're using Docker, that shouldn't be too much of a problem, because you could pull the switch your Docker base for that.
Right.
Just try it out and work through the issues. That would be one thing. And then, yeah, the next one is just it depends on what your customizations are, I think, of what your next step is. But it definitely wouldn't hurt if you got your little simple bot there to try nav2 on it. We got nav2 up in simulation pretty quickly. They had some pretty decent tutorials. I think I found most of the ones we started with on what is it, the Dynamics old folks,
Robotis.
Yeah, Robotis. Yeah, they have a nice little nav tutorial for ROS 1 and ROS 2, and ROS 2 using simulation. But yeah, I think it would be great probably the best person to talk to is to get an idea of where things are and where they're going, is to talk to Steve. And if you're going to join that meeting on Thursday, then you might just say who you are and invite him to this when he has a chance. And I think, let's see, who did you say you talked to?
Matt Hansen. I didn't realize Matt was leaving.
Oh, well, Matt left Intel and now he's at AWS, but he's joined the meetings again.
Good. So
I think he would be good too. If obviously AWS is very interested in you know, they've got RoboMaker and doing all kinds of stuff there, trying to do deployments, but they have a lot of interest in that. So I think they might even help you by you know, helping you step forward into nav2. That's probably why they hired him, is because right now AWS RoboMaker is all ROS 1 but ROS 2 beta, and so hiring Matt makes a lot of sense, since he was leading the nav2.
Okay. Thanks for that update, Jeremy. I'll run a little bit late tonight, but thanks for being here. It's fun. I hope you guys have a great week. Any other comments before we shut her down? All right. Good luck.
Great week.
Happy robot building evening.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.